Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys coming by the channel to check the video out. And today we're going to be talking about rod and reels, and I want to talk about how to simplify your rod and reel selection where you don't have 6,000 rods out there with 6,000 different actions on it. I've got two rods here. I've got one bait casting rod and I've got one spinning rod. And guys, after I get done explaining this in the video, you'll see that these two actions that I'm going to talk about, it doesn't really matter the rod model, but the two actions that I'm talking about, it will take care of 95% of your bass fishing needs without having to buy a ton of rod and reels. In fact, I had a request yesterday for somebody was wanting to know how to simplify their rod and reel selection, so today's going to be a good video for that. Also, guys, big thank you to everybody out there that's taking time to hit the subscribe button here at Intuitive Angling. The last couple of weeks, man, we've had some really great channel growth. Really appreciate that. We're working hard to get to 150,000 subscribers. And also, guys, if you want to go to the next level with Intuitive Angling, you can be a channel member or a Patreon member. Channel members get extra videos, private videos that are not seen by the public every week, and some access to my personal email address for your fishing questions. So all you have to do for that is just go to my homepage, hit the join button, or go into my channel description. So I really appreciate that. Okay, one of the things that's difficult for every bass angler is when you buy a rod and reel, because so much of the shopping that we do anymore is online, like, Tackle Warehouse and whatever, a lot of people do online shopping. So it's pretty difficult to get a feel for a rod and reel ordering it online. So a lot of times you have to go by the description or word of mouth or something like that. And it's sort of intimidating a little bit, because rod and reels are sort of like soft plastics. If you ever go into a tackle store, you got these huge walls of hundreds of different types of soft plastics, profiles, colors, and it's like, what the heck, what do I want here? There's so much to choose from. It's sort of the same with a rod and reel, because you've got so many specialty rods now that are just technique specific for jerk baits, crankbaits, for flipping, for, whatever, swim bait fishing, that, what do you need? It's like, does somebody need every one of those rods? Obviously not. So what I wanted to do in today's video is I've got two rods here. These are both Megabass Destroyer rods here. I want to talk about the action specifically and describe to you how versatile that when you get a rod that has the right action in, how it can take the place of like 10 other rods. So we'll get into that in today's video. Now, first one I want to talk about, guys, this is the Megabass Destroyer TMJ. This is a 7'3" rod. I consider it sort of a medium heavy, a little bit closer to the medium side. And also, guys, I'll link my Tackle Warehouse link in the description to both of these rods and the reels I'm talking about here. If you guys would like to pick one up, and using that link is a good way to help the channel here. But anyway, this 7'3" rod, medium heavy action, attention to detail, unparalleled. That's one of the things about the Megabass Destroyer line. It's just the components are second to none in there. That's what makes the difference on a rod and reel. The quality of it is the quality of the components, like the reel seat material, like the type of guides they use on there, titanium. The little details make a huge difference in the feel of a rod and reel. So when you're shopping for a rod and reel, pay close attention in the description to the construction of the handle and the guide materials and the number of the guides. All that stuff, the more guides, the more titanium they use is going to be a lot better. But anyway, Megabass TMJ, and then the other spinning rod I'm going to show here. Okay, let's talk a little bit about why this action specifically, whether it's Megabass or whatever rod you're using, is key in terms of a rod that's a little bit over 7 feet long and a medium heavy action rod. Now, this particular rod here, being 7'3" with the medium heavy, guys, it can take, you can fish about anything. On this particular rod, I could pitch and flip with it. It's stiff enough and long enough to pitch and flip, so I don't have to carry around a flipping stick. That's a huge deal. It may be a little, a tiny bit light for heavy flipping, but overall, when you pick this rod up, it sort of feels like a flipping stick a little bit, the TMJ here. So you got all your pitching and flipping, which encompasses a ton. I don't care if you're pitching and flipping a worm or a creature bait or a jig or whatever. Flipping and pitching can be taken care of with the 7'3" medium heavy. Also, this is going to be a good rod to throw an Alabama rig on. with the length of it. A Carolina rig, you could drag a football head jig with it. You could cast a weightless Cinco with it. You can cast a fluke with it. You can cast a sluggo with it. You could fish a lot of different top waters. You could fish buzz baits. You could fish walking top waters, wake baits, swim baits, glide baits. You know, every type of crankbait that you have, deep diving crankbaits, square bill crankbaits. You know, there's very few techniques that this rod would not be serviceable for. Now, yeah, there might be more technique specific, like for example, if you're fishing if you like to fish a jerk bait on a bait caster, which I don't, maybe a little bit long, but you can get by with it. So point of the matter is like, unless you want to spend money on 10 different models of rods, 7'3", medium heavy, Megabass TMJ, this is going to be one that's going to take carry a lot of the weight for, you know, all your techniques. Now, coupled with that is the reel on here. This is that Abu Garcia Zat Attack reel. I really like it because a lot of the proceeds of this goes to our first responders and our military. I'll link this in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description. But the main thing about a bait cast reel combined with this setup is you want a large handle, a large oversized handle, and a 7-to-1 retrieve. That's another thing we talk about when you're talking about rod and reels is what retrieve to use. You got, you know, 10 different type of retrieve variables on a bait cast reel. So how do you know if you need a 6-to-4, 7-to-1, 7-to-3, 8-to-1, whatever? But guys, I have found out in my fishing that if you just have a 7-to-1 retrieve reel, like this Zat Attack here, it takes care of everything. It's fast enough to speed crank. It's slow enough to slow down if you want to throw like a big swim bait or a glide bait. 7-to-1 reel is sort of the standard benchmark for a lot of different techniques. So that's the setup with this here. Okay, now the next one is a spinning rod. We're talking about you only need these two rods here can take care of so many different techniques. The bait caster that I just talked there, the TMJ, I just told you all the techniques it'll take care of. Now the next one is you want your spinning outfit. This is the Megabass Destroyer Addermine. It's a 6', 11" rod, and that's what we're going to talk about here in this video is the spinning rod length and action. And again, guys, I'll link this Addermine in my Tackle Warehouse description. These are just, guys, if you have never felt one of these things before, these Megabass Addermines, it is like, I mean, it just feels like an extension in your hand. It's so balanced and so smooth. They're just freaking awesome rods. But anyway, the most important part of it, again, is the action of the spinning rod, regardless of the brand. 6', 11" is the magic number. 6'10", 6'11". For most techniques, you don't really need a 7-foot spinning rod, and I'm going to explain why. Coupled up with a like a medium action tip on it. That's the main thing. It's got a fairly stiff bunt on it. It's got a fairly, you know, parabolic bend on it. This allows you to fish a diversity of techniques. So with this reel right here, with this particular rod, I'm fishing all of my lighter techniques. I'm fishing my small crankbaits. This is the rod I fish all my jerk baits on. I fish floating worms on it. I can fish flukes on it. Shaky heads, wacky rigs, Ned rigs, small plastic worms, finesse jigs. Just a plethora of techniques that you could fish when you need something to throw a little bit lighter line with. Now, coupled with that is the reel. One of the biggest things when you're purchasing a reel, guys, is make sure you have a 3000 series spool. A lot of guys use a 2500, and the problem with a 2500 is you can't get the distance out of it like you can a 3000. You can cast a larger 3000 series spool here probably about 15-20% further than you can with a 2500. So when you're wanting to simplify with your spinning reels, just like with the bait caster, make sure you stay with a 3000 series spool. And also, one of the most important features, a lot of reel companies are going away from this, but make sure that you have the anti-reverse feature. A lot of companies are phasing this out, but you want an anti-reverse feature on there because back reeling is the only way to fight a fish. I never use a drag in a spinning reel. I tighten it down and I back reel all the time. It's a lot more forgiving. You can more quickly adjust to a fish's run, and you can put the precise amount of pressure you want on a fish, and you know what that pressure is because you're controlling it with the reel handle. But anyway, guys, 6'11" medium action. Again, the Megabass Rod line, attention to detail on the handle, titanium guides, quality second to none there. So anyway, guys, that's just sort of a way to simplify your rod and reel selection there. Instead of having freaking 20 different rod and reels, if you want to be a minimalist, that's what you can get by with. Get you a good 7'2" to 7'3" medium heavy bait cast rod, and a good medium action 6'10", 6'11" spinning rod, and it can pretty much take care of anything. I could, you know, out of all I've got access to, you know, all the different rods I want, but I could get by with these two. It's like I could literally have these two rods in my boat and fish about anything that I fish, you know, 12 months out of the year with it. So anyway, I hope it helps you guys out, and we'll check in later.